Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. I will be reading in the r/EntitledPeople subreddit, and today I have yet another update for you on this Reddit story. And a lot of you guys asked me that if there were final updates for this story, to compile it all into one completed mega story. Well, I decided to appease thine viewers and do so. So if you've already heard the first two parts of this story and don't want to hear them again, I will put chapters in for where the new updates start, as well as tell you right now on the screen which time to go to. But without further ado, let's jump into this crazy sister story. Entitled sister burns bridge, then wants me to maintain her and her unborn baby. So, I, 27-year-old female, moved to the US almost 7 years ago. I have two half-sisters from my father's side, all from different women. We used to be very close, and despite both of them being illegitimate, I shared with them part of what little inheritance I got from my grandparents. They never recognized them and left them nothing. 2 years ago, my sisters also moved to the US. The middle sister, 28, let's call her Mary, got a company to host her with a work visa. The eldest, 30, Karen, got a student visa and moved in with me since I was already working and earning a good salary. The arrangement was that I would pay bills, she would get a job at the university since she's not allowed to work outside, and that was her spending money. I would cover all bills and food. The only thing I asked was to help with some minor chores. I have a dog and a cat, and I told her she had no responsibility while she had school and work. It was fine, since I work from home, and I have a step family that helped me maintaining my home, mostly because I'm the free babysitter for them. Pretty sweet deal for a student, right? Well, apparently that wasn't enough. While she was in school, Karen met Ken. I knew Ken from the time I went to university. He's a creep, but I thought harmless. Karen was head over heels for him. I warned her Ken had a bad reputation at the university, but she didn't care. She's a big girl, so I let it be, with the only condition that Ken was not allowed at my place. COVID hits, and my hours were cut. Karen's school goes on pause, and she loses her campus job. Because of all of this, we moved into a small apartment. I took a second job and did some freelance on the side. Needless to say, I had no personal life. I am dating someone, but he was also swamped with work and bills, so we barely saw each other. During this time, Karen and Ken apparently got closer, and he began to appear in the apartment. Karen was not part of my lease, but my landlord was very understanding. Ken began making really inappropriate comments about me. I am not a beauty queen, I just look a bit exotic, as Ken put it. I'm a mixed race from the Caribbean, so I have a bit of everything, and somehow it all shows. Karen looks more like our father, who was of European descent. In all honesty, Karen is more attractive. I only look foreign in this little intermountain region city. Ken would go out of his way to touch me and was just invasive. I managed to just keep in my room when he was around, or use the excuse that my pets needed a walk. I didn't know exactly why, but Karen kept pushing for me to spend time on my own with Ken. It will be good for you to bond with your future brother-in-law. They had only been dating 7 months at this point. Whatever, I didn't care. I found excuses to avoid it. November 2020, I got a better position at my main career job, so I was able to quit my second job and have more me time. I reconnected with friends, and one of them asked me if I was okay. I asked why, and he told me Ken had been saying he was very close to getting me for personal time. I was not okay with that idea, and I very loudly said I'd rather be hit by a train than do anything with Ken. Since I'm in a small city in the Intermountain region, the kind that most people in the same area knows each other, a lot of people had text messages or creepy stories to tell me. That was it for me. I went home and demanded an explanation. They didn't deny it. Ken even said Karen had said it was fine, and I was doing them a solid as her sister, since he had a fantasy he wanted to go for. I told them both they were disgusting and that Ken had to leave or I would be calling the cops. Ken left with some insults sent my way, and Karen began telling me she didn't see the problem since my partner and I were on a break. We were not. I told her I was not for her to sell around like property, and that she had 2 weeks to find a place of her own. I was done with her. I called all my relatives, sent them the copies of the text messages I was given, and no one in our family wanted anything to do with Karen. She moved in with Ken a few days later. It took me some effort, but I was able to get a restraining order for Ken. Couldn't get one for Karen. Still, they disappeared from my radar, except for a few encounters which easily were solved with showing I was about to call 911. And then today happened, and I had to hold back my laughter. Mary had kept tabs on Karen, since sisters and all, and she messaged me with a notice. Hey, Karen just called me. She's pregnant, and Ken kicked her out. I just stared for a few moments and responded, oh, that's sad. Mary knew and supports that I don't care or have any intentions to help. Karen used Mary's phone to call me. She begged me to help, since Mary is only letting her stay for a week before she moves to another state. Said that she missed her little sister and had no one else to go to. That she knows I have family health insurance. I pay for private health insurance for 2 relatives that are in hard times and have health conditions, and that I could do something like that for her pregnancy medical bills. This baby is a blessing, and I should want to help her raise it, meaning I pay for everything. I let her pour her heart out for a good 5 to 7 minutes, then said, nope. And I ended the call. She tried calling again for a while, then stopped when I got a text message from Mary saying she had left her phone on the counter and she was sorry for the spamming. Most of my family agrees with me, even Karen's mom. The only one that disapproves is Karen's aunt. She's not my aunt, but I called her aunt anyway since I've known her for many years. She's been putting pressure on me most of the day. She only stopped when I told her one more message, and I would show her text messages to my stepfather, who is her landlord. I feel bad for the baby to a point, but this is one of those moments that all I can think is this is not my circus, and these are not my monkeys. Also, a small explanation on my parents. They were very old traditionalists. By the end of their lives, they didn't have much to give, so they chose to give it to the legal grandchildren. My sperm donor father had many children. I might not even know all of them. Grandparents were just tired of every other year having a new grandchild appear, and in some cases, a moocher mother attached. Last, Karen's visa. She had an extension since COVID, but that is over. She's overstaying her visa. This is very common. I have relatives that do it. I don't agree, but I also had one foot in since my stepfather is American. Update. Entitled sister burns bridge, then wants me to maintain her and her unborn baby. I wasn't planning to make an update so quick, or at all, but here it is. Small summary. I have 2 half-sisters, Mary and Karen. Karen used to live with me rent-free and decided to offer me up to her creepy boyfriend like a side dish. I kicked her out and she went to live with him. She got pregnant, he threw her to the curb, and now she wants me to take care of her and her unborn baby. Now to today. Mary called me this morning to have brunch and discuss things related to Karen. She told me she understood I don't want to be part of the mix, but she really wanted it to be discussed, and after, I can just walk out. I know Mary, and I know she's just trying to leave everything in order before she leaves the state. She's the peacekeeper of my siblings. I agreed on the condition that there was no way Karen would come home with me. Mary just said, if she tries to follow you, I'll drag her out myself. So I dressed up and off I went to brunch with my sisters. I'll skip the pleasantries and dumb, friendly family look Karen attempted. Once we were done eating and just having coffee, Mary set out all the cards on the table. She explained that she couldn't take Karen with her out of state, because she's getting married to her longtime girlfriend and they can only afford a 1-bedroom in her new city. She also said Karen was insane if she thought Mary would allow her to live with me, even if she had the power to make me take Karen back in. That Karen was lucky she even let her stay with her for the last few days. She told her the only reason we were doing this was because her mother had begged her to at least put Karen somewhere safe or find a solution for the pregnancy. So she turned to me and asked me as the most stable economically if there was anything I would be willing to help with. I might be an asshole for this. Feel free to roast me, but I basically said I would only give money for 3 things. 1, a termination and a hotel room while she heals from it. 2, a ticket back to her home country so she can live with her mother or aunt and get free healthcare. 3, a ticket to our eldest brother's home country so she can live with him because I know he would take her. I also said she had the option to put the baby up for adoption, but I would not be offering her a place to stay or a way to get medical care out of my pocket. I gave her some links to nonprofits she could use. Karen started crying, saying I was trying to take away her baby and being a bad sister, that a good sister would open up her home and help her care for her baby, that I never deserved to have the money I have. Most of my money is from inheritance on my mother's side of the family, so not sure how she would have gotten anything, that I was spoiled by my mother because she had money. We did, because after our father left my mother and I with nothing, she made a company from scratch. She kept babbling and making a scene. Then she said something that actually hurt me. "You're just mad because you will never get pregnant." Yes, I happen to be infertile. No, I can't get treatment for it. It is what it is. I already accepted it, but it still hurts. Mary knew this was a low blow for me and basically told Karen one more stupid word like that and she'll be sleeping in the street tonight. I didn't cry or anything, just stared. Karen stopped her crying, muttering, and seemed to get an idea. She looked at me straight and told me to adopt her baby. I laughed at that. I told her she was insane if she thought I would adopt her baby. I don't want her in my life, let alone her ex. I don't blame the baby, but I have absolutely no intentions to be part of the child's life. I was about to go off on Karen just for even thinking I would consider that as an option. But Mary stopped me on time. She simply said to Karen, "You have the options she gave you. Here are mine. You can get a termination or you can go back to your home country. Either way, you can't stay here. You are not legal and your immigration status affects us. If you were to live with us, I could lose my job and OP could lose her resident status. You have until next Friday to choose. If none of these options work, you will have to find your own solution without us. I don't want you anywhere near my little sister. You put her at risk of being assaulted or worse. You are lucky I have an empty room for 1 more week for you to crash in. But after, I don't want to see you in person. We can keep in touch by Facebook or phone. You've lost the right to spend time in person with either of us." I just stared at Mary. She's very quiet and normally the most reserved of us, so this was not expected. Mary paid, didn't even wait for the change, and left Karen with enough to get a taxi home. Mary grabbed me by the arm and took me out. I didn't know how much I needed someone to just protect me for a change, but I did cry a little on the way out just from pure relief that I had one older sister that still looked out for me. We decided to go for ice cream after like we did as kids when bad things happened and discussed our plans to spend holidays and vacations together. Mary's girlfriend also joined us for ice cream, and the whole time she just made jokes about how sad she's going to be without her moving table. She's much taller than me and it's a running gag with us. Nothing too dramatic, thankfully. Mary and her girlfriend are going to come later for dinner with me. Depending how this mess ends, I'll try to update. But at this point, I think it's pretty much done. Not sure if Karen will take any of the options we gave her or just do her own thing. Regardless, I have no intentions of putting my money for anything but what I said I would. And yes, Mary is my hero if anyone is curious. Karen has made her choice. final update. Well, as the title says, my older half-sister Karen has made a choice. The short version of the events leading to this is Karen was living rent-free with me when she started dating a creepy guy. Her boyfriend wants to follow through a fantasy that involved my sister and I in a very disgusting activity together, and Karen was all up for it and volunteered me without my knowledge. I kicked her out, she moved in with him and got pregnant, and he kicked her out. She wanted me to not only take her in, but also basically maintain her and her baby. My sister and I gave her the options and told her she would not live with either of us long term. As I mentioned in my last post, my sister Mary and I gave Karen a couple of options for her unplanned pregnancy. The options were a termination on her pregnancy, a ticket back to our home country, or to our brother's home country, or she can figure out a way to keep her child or put the baby up for adoption. She had until tomorrow to choose, since Mary leaves on Saturday for the East Coast. Well, Karen chose none of the above. She decided to make life so difficult, she is now arrested and more than likely will be deported. Let me explain what happened. Tuesday, Mary decided to leave for a nearby national park to enjoy it one last time before she moves too far to drive there. She left Karen with a key and some money. Big mistake. Mary and her girlfriend returned yesterday and found out all the locks on their house had been changed. To make it even worse, Ken, Karen's supposed ex, had moved into their house. I know, Mary should have seen this coming, but they grew up as best friends. They used to be closer to each other than to anyone else, myself included. Obviously, police were called, and it was just a major mess. Karen and Ken claimed it was their house, and Mary and her girlfriend kept telling them, no, it's not. It's not even Mary's house anymore. It was sold, and the new family that owns it arrives on Sunday. The police officers were so done with this mess before it even escalated, and asked everyone for their IDs. Ken, Mary, and Mary's girlfriend all had their IDs. Karen only had an expired passport. Karen got arrested on immigration charges. Ken got arrested on charges relating to breaking and entering, and some others I don't know for sure. I got this secondhand from Mary. Today I got a call about my sister. Her lawyer said she's claiming to be my surrogate, and that the baby in her was actually my child. Yep. She tried this. I told the lawyer that I was not looking for a surrogate or adopting a child. I am already fostering and have no space, and that my sister got pregnant by accident with Ken. He asked if I would be willing to foster her baby, since the child would technically be American. I said absolutely not. He tried to work things with me, explaining my sister will most likely be deported otherwise. I told him if that's the law, then that's how it will be. I asked him to please not contact me about her anymore. As far as I'm concerned, the only family she has is in our home country. Aside from the scare and new locks, Mary is okay. The realtor has copies of the new key for the family that owns the house. And now my sister and I are planning to have no contact with Karen. I don't know exactly what will happen to Karen, nor do I even care anymore. Now, not even Aunt in our home country wants anything to do with Karen, and even apologized to Mary and I. As for Ken, well, who knows? I hope he goes to jail, but if he doesn't, I couldn't care less. I now feel like a massive boulder is off my shoulders. I want to thank everyone who sent me well wishes to my sister Mary and I. Also to the people that shared advice that I'm so glad I took to heart. This has been probably the worst roller coaster family mess I've dealt with since my parents' divorce. And it came absolutely from the one person I suspected less. Can't say I have any entitled stories aside from this. Karen once actually was a very good sister, but I guess when money and comfort are involved, people change. Small update that isn't worth a new post. Karen was offered to leave the US willingly, and she will face no negative effects for her status. She called my mom to see if she could convince me to give my sister the money for the ticket. Mary and I agreed to pay the ticket on the condition she will never contact either of us. Her mom is aware of this, and basically told me that Karen will have to find a job within the month she arrives, or she'll be in the streets. As for lawyers and stuff, I have my own immigration lawyer aware of the mess, and he told me the only way the surrogate ploy would work would be a DNA match or a contract. None of that is around, so I'm safe. Mary booked Karen for her trip back on Friday, and good riddance. Can I get a great googly moogly? Good God, what was Karen's plan exactly? To just take over someone else's house? Someone else's sold house at that. Karen and Kim are as dumb as they are entitled, and I'm so horrified that they procreated. I honestly feel so bad for this unborn child, and I sincerely hope that that baby goes to someone that has empathy and good morals. The timing honestly couldn't have been more perfect for Mary for this fiasco to happen. She's moving to another state, and Karen won't know how to find her. But I do worry for OP, especially because Ken is still in the same vicinity as her. For her sake, I hope she keeps some tabs on him. I know she wants this to be over, but it might be a good idea for her own safety to know what happened to him, because he's proven himself to be an irrational creep. I truly do hope this is all over for OP, but something tells me it's not. But anyways, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed that full Entitled Sister story with the updates. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!